allows you to give it, like, allows you to put out the stuff that we know you can't pay back, like interest is running on that, and then you can't take back the check. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, which way
Yeah, I'm gonna move around anyway.
yeah, give it to you, you need to respond to I think the bigger lesson to learn, another lesson to learn from for us as grassroots activists is that seeing how the system functions, the system would have collapsed. What would the system do without the Fed constantly bailing it out? Therefore, if we take the Fed, if we were to occupy it, if we were to start giving away food, start doing drum circles, start getting a media service down there, start making it really hard for the Fed to do business as usual, that could make it really hard for the banks to do business. That could make it really hard for the United States government to do business. And my understanding is that the desk here, the New York Federal Reserve Branch, is very important in terms of the national money supply, in terms of the global supply specifically. Because this is where the open market community activities take place, where the Fed buys and sells treasury securities in order to create or move money in circulation. Well, I mean, that's how they sustain themselves all kinds of ways. I mean, part of the deal is the Fed, my understanding, the basic, I want to ask you also about the history of how this bill got passed, about how there's a secret meeting at Jekyll Island, and specifically about how, like Senator Aldrich and the Republicans pretended to oppose this bill, specifically in order to trick people like William Jennings Bryan and Woodrow Wilson into fighting for it and getting this bill passed. Similar trick that bankers use often today as well. So, that's something else I think we should talk about too. But a bigger point in terms of like what we do about all this, starting one occupation here, even just a few dozen people. Like we have like about a half dozen now. Build this up. This will change the conversation. If we strike here, if we occupy here. This is our thermopylae. You know, this is this is where we fight. Banks die. If you ask me.
Well, this is where the financial part comes in. And so drawing the attention to this, and especially since, like, you know, Occupy is really focused on the banks. If we focus on the Fed going out on the side, we, you know, it's like from Occupy, we understood what the banks are. I think coming out of Occupy now, we understand more of the infrastructure that goes behind the financial system. So what we do is we focus on the Fed and start. I mean, we could say it chokehold, but what we really want to do is what we want to do is we want to free up the money from everything so that we can all, you know, stop living paycheck to paycheck and, you know, fight the destruction of wages and decommodify some things like housing and healthcare and all these things that, you know, even our employer can't afford us to pay us, right? So that, you know, we can survive. I mean, a lot of people who talk about freedom in America will talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where, you know, you need the basic things. Well, most Americans, without those basic things, are pretty much functionally sick. In a capitalist society, you're working on meeting your basic needs instead of focusing on ideas to bring to the market. And you know, that's one part where in America we are asked to come up with this idea and put it out there. Well, I think one of the things the NEED Act does is that it also takes off our employer the ability, not the ability, but the responsibility of providing us with health insurance and making sure that we're, you know, taken care of in that line, which they keep cutting back. We can make a separate argument about that, but we also then, if we already have access to these healthcare, we have better roads and jobs from roads. then we're healthier to go forward in society and function. Like right now, I think America has since the 70s, since pretty much the installation of neoliberalism, which was occurred in the 1970s and 80s, has been a very, we reward the business leaders heavily and not the workers, and the workers are stuck underneath this new system that says the businesses don't have to pay. And, I'm not completely against the business, but if we can take the load of taxes, which the Clean Act is a tax-free bill, off the businesses and say, well, they're not paying taxes and we're not paying taxes, but how we fund our government is the source of where we get our money, then it's the jobs that we have repairing roads, doing healthcare, and, all of the basic things that run our infrastructure. That money seeds out, and then the businesses having to compete with that instead of having the banks giving us the money, and propping off and having given it to us. So I think that's part of what we need to, like, if we're going to go forward and start looking at, well, how is it that we tie not the banks this time to a movement, but the Federal Reserve? We point out, well, this institution is giving them the power to the banks by giving them money when they could be giving it to infrastructure projects, and then the workers spend it into the economy, or the government buys supplies from businesses, and then those workers and that business spends it. That's a totally different system. That's a bottom-up system instead of a trickle-down system.
This is Federal Reserve. Real quick, this is the one issue that should reunite the right and left in this country, at least temporarily. What Mark is saying about taxes, this is a tax-free bill. Conservatives hate taxes. This is something that conservatives should, in theory, jump on board with, because this is just Article 1, Section 8, Clause 5 of our Constitution, which gives Congress the authority and the duty to create and circulate money. So this isn't some radical socialistic alternative or anything. This is rooted in the Constitution. This is rooted in just common sense, to quote Thomas Paine. So taxing it.
Numbers don't lie.
Let me say a few words about the NEED Act. Remember, I said there's a real difference between government money and bank credit. They will change the bank money because we have to pay the But what the NEED Act does is it makes limited need exchange money that we have to pay for this, like insurance. Makes it purely to eliminate that, it doesn't disappear once. Then and it circulates and it doesn't go out of existence. It's real money. It's the money that was part of national sovereignty government through most of history. It's only recently that this bank credit started to be used against us, really, against the society. Starting in 1494. But that's new if you look at the whole history of money, real money issued by governments. And in this country, the history is very, very important. When I started learning this, I was absolutely shocked to find out that in the 13 British colonies, the people there never allowed private banks. Never. And when I read that, I live in New York, I learned that, wait a minute, there's a bank on every corner. And the colonies, they kept the private bank credit. They wanted their government money. And every colony had its government money. They were paper bills, paper money issued by each colonial legislature, all circulated, issued in their own money, and they spent it for circulation for the needs of the security of the government. They kept out very important to understand what happened That's how these states. And the states started issuing charters to private banks
Okay.
to create their bank credit. It started in 1781,
Okay.
and that's why we have to just continue up.
Wow.
So the Mead Act says our means of exchange is government money. Debt free. It's spent by the government for the common good. That's the bottom line. So what happens to a bank credit?
Yeah.
Well, the bank credit, of course, is all coming from a bank creating it for a loan. And they also, banks have two privileges. They can create their bank credit and give a loan to somebody at interest. When they can create their bank credit and buy securities. That's what they did in World War I. In World War I, the major banks, the commercial banks that were members of the Federal Reserve, created their bank credit and bought treasury bonds. $21 billion of treasury bonds from the U.S. Treasury. The member banks, the commercial banks bought with their bank credit being created. Legally, under the Federal Reserve Board. The Federal Reserve Board went on in November of 1914. The war started in Europe.
Right.
Neutral. In August of 1914.
And just so that got started just in time for World War One.
Funded.
And so Unger points out that the Fed was selling guns to both sides during World War One.
Yeah, I haven't found it.
Oh, that's he writes it in there.
I haven't found it. You have to show it to me.
Oh, it's in there. Yeah, I remember it.
I found all the research that I found. The bank credit in this country was created to fund England and France and some like Russia, all the Allies. There were investment bankers in this country that were German, and they did give some bank credit to Germany. Like the vast majority of our bank credit went to England, France, and Russia, the Allies. But the power to create private bank credit and fund that war, the war was horrible. I think something like 11 million men died, and it was just year after year of all the weapons.
Mustard gas, tanks.
All the weapons. Like they would have an attack, and it would go, one side would attack 10 weeks, and before they did the attack, they would each, I can't remember exactly, but each day, like a million artillery shells would go to
So
the trenches
the other side.
every day. And then it would stop and they would attack. But it was crazy. It went on for 4 years. That kind of, it was weird. It was like people were traumatized. It never happened. And it went on and on and on because it was funded by banks. That's the power of this.
Same story right now too, right?
Yeah,
Going to war.
that's what I just was thinking.
Syria.
I was thinking about it when you were talking about it. I was thinking about what is going on right now, and that's why they can't stop this war. And they're never gonna stop this war. And since 2008, like you were saying, I think since 2008, these billionaires, I mean, being that these banks, they will bail out, and all these people lost their homes and their savings, I think the billionaires, they have people, you know, richer and richer. I mean, in a very, I mean, if you take the figures right now from these billionaires and how only about at one time it was 500, 600, and then now it's declining. And the percentage that these people, the 0.00001%, is grabbing all the money.
Hey Natalie. Hey, there's still some pizza. There's one other war, since we have another competition that's locked in. David and I met playing capoeira. Capoeira is actually how I first came to the city. I first came here visiting friends playing capoeira. I've been teaching Mark and Natalie some capoeira. We're gonna get Sue in there soon too. She knows the music really well.
My shoulders and my knees, I don't know.
Capoeiristas, alright, look, slaves in Brazil had a life expectancy of 10 years. They did capoeira to get stronger, and it actually helped them live longer. But check this out. So, the Federal Reserve is modeled after the Bank of England, right? The Bank of England is modeled after the Bank of Amsterdam, right? So, the Bank of Amsterdam, they funded the Dutch East India Company. They gave the Dutch East India Company loans to go take people from Africa across the Atlantic over to the New World. And so a lot of those slaves were sent to Brazil, as well as America, of course, even more Brazil. One, 1864, if I'm not mistaken, Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay went to war with Paraguay. It's called the War of the Triple Alliance. And we see the same thing. We see the Bank of England funding both Paraguay and the Triple Alliance. And this was a very bloody war in Latin American history. And some of the people who were sent to fight in Brazil were slaves. So these slaves were sent to go fight in the front lines because they weren't expected to come. Well, part of the reason why they went to go fight is because they were promised their freedom if they went and fought and came home. And so it's like, yeah, go ahead, you're gonna go die. And slaves knew, but a lot of them actually survived and came back because they knew capoeira. They were known for being really good at trench warfare, getting into ditches, and really good with sticks and blades and stuff, which is And so they actually have a song that comes from this art, this slave art that we study about this war. Vou dizer, minha mulher, banana, capoeira, seu banana. Puts on my own that the war hit me hard, but it didn't kill me. El de teo con pe fami, banana, seu banana, banana, banana. It goes on and on. It's the song about poverty. The slaves, they came back from this war, and they had nowhere to go. They had to go to the ghetto. They were free, but they weren't given homes, they weren't given money, they weren't given anything. And so a lot of what they did, they just turned to capoeira. They played capoeira outside in the streets in order to kill time and pass time. And it just became a subject of intense police persecution. Capoeiristas were jailed with torture. That's why Capoeiristas all get another name. My name is Chisora Capoeira. Assunada, and Cesar, he's in the middle of earning his name, because these were aliases not given to the police. So this art that comes right out of slavery, that comes right out of this history of money and war, talking about, for me it's really interesting to look at martial arts history, the lens of the history of money, to see how all these different martial arts that come from all these different wars all got started by banks. So every martial art comes from war. Every war is a banker's war. Therefore, every martial artist, in my opinion, has a duty to use their skills to fight the banks in a non-violent way, to lead the way. So, a big part of my work is getting more martial artists out here to actually train, to pick up arms, to play capoeira. We want this to be an armed insurrection, not just an occupation. Not to get violent, to make it more non-violent, to make it more peaceful, to give people a way to channel the aggression in a constructive, beautiful, healthy way, to police ourselves, keep dangerous people out, because we all remember that. We all remember how dangerous Ikari got. I don't want that happening again. This is why we're going to be training. We're going to be in shape. We're going to get strong. And I think the other thing that I learned from the law of science of money is the connection between debt and violence. Like, what is debt without violence? What is debt without that threat of, someone with a gun and some cops coming to your house and throwing you in jail? Like, how do you get a country into a situation of debt without also having that violence behind you? Like, the thing that I learned from the law of science of money is that not only is our banking system, not only is our economy and our government based on debt, Starling, I think, does a really good job about talking about the violence that goes on underneath the debt. The real basis of our money, in my opinion, is violence. I mean, for us, I think I come from a Marxist and a syndicalist tradition. We have to occupy the means of production. We have to occupy the fact, take over the computer terminals, not by force, but by symbolic means. And we have to appropriate the means of production, redistribute money back to the people. But in order to do that, we also have to appropriate legitimate means of violence in this country, as Weber would talk about. Once the media sees that we're training, once they see that we're getting stronger, once they see that we're in shape, that we know how to fight, and that we could even potentially kill if need be, then our nonviolence is going to mean something. Because then our nonviolence is going to be born out of desperation. Gandhi talked about how the warrior who throws down the sword and acts nonviolently has more soul force than the regular person. So this is what I call ultra nonviolence. The cops love it. We go outside, we train all the time, we bow to the police, we've never had an issue with the police whatsoever. The media, they get a little scared of this sometimes. We like that. It gives us a chance to have a conversation. So, if everyone's done eating soon, like, we'll wrap up the conversation. We got some more stuff to talk about. It's sort of like an after show. We're gonna head out. We got a bunch of sticks, some swords, some masks. We'll take Mark and I and Natalie now. We've got a few little demonstrations to do. Some of you wouldn't mind grabbing some signs. I got some torches to hold up for everybody. We'll take some good photos and some good videos. We'll use the content to promote our next action next year. Tax day. So you got all night. You got all night.
I just want to, if people have questions about that, they can clear the NEAT Act. So in the NEAT Act, very specifically, commercial banks are not, any longer be able to create bank credit. They can only take existing bank deposits of government money and loan them. So they're not creating bank credit. That's the key. And the government money, all the money on the day of transition of the NEAT Act, all the means of exchange that we will have would become legal government issue.
It's US dollars now, not Federal Reserve notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
US money. It's like equivalent to a greenback. And the Federal Reserve itself would be moved into the Treasury of the United States. So going forward, any money that all of us need, the economy needs, the Congress would authorize it. So Congress is going to decide, just like today, how is the money going to be decided? It's still going to be Congress. It's still the Congress that authorizes the money. And then the Treasury takes that authorization and actually executes and spends it. And in the NEAT Act, Part 5, the very last part of the NEAT Act, are suggestions from Dennis Kucinich, or from the Congress that has passed the law, suggestions on how the government is going to spend the real government money, which is going to be. And there's suggestions, again, that Congress is the one that decides how our money is going to be spent. But the NEAT Act suggests things that Harrison has said that, like infrastructure, giving per capita payments to the states for infrastructure,
Yeah.
which creates jobs and gives us what we all need, a real world that works well for us, things like that. So that's the core of MEDAC. If you have any questions, please ask.
I want to know what I want to know how the latest AMI conference went. I want to know about some of the things for monetary stuff. I want to know if the Alliance has anything, because like we're not alone here. We're just the tip of the iceberg. If we start this, we start going out there and occupying, we're going to have a lot of air support, so to speak. There's going to be a lot of other people who can join us. So what's going on? Like, how's the AMI
One
conference?
question at a time.
Yeah.
Okay. I really got a lot out of it. First of all, it starts Thursday afternoon and goes through Sunday morning. So Thursday afternoon, you know that you have some new members come from a farming organization out in the Midwest that's been around since 1937. And they have the whole history of an analysis of the economy that is called parity economy, PARITY, at the conference for those today. Because people really wanted to learn about it. It's really good. So I'll give you the basics, because I learned about it like 4 or 5 years ago, and right away it made me able to think about how an economy works. Because I never knew, if I listen to economists, I don't understand what they're talking. But when I listen to these farmer economists, I can understand how the economy works. So they started in 1937. It started by a farmer during the Great Depression. And he asked this question of himself. He said, 2 weeks ago, I could get $2 for a bushel of wheat. $2. This week I can only get 80 cents. The bushel of wheat is the same. It's the same nutrition. Why did that happen? See, it's related to the money. It's the price. It's the price. Who controls the money controls the price in our economy. So he gathered around some economists in the Midwest, and they did research, and they said, this is how an economy works. And I can give you some sources if you're interested in some of these books. All wealth comes from here. Yeah, all wealth. You think that? No, I grew up in the city. I'm a city girl. So I think wealth. I said, oh, manufacturing. Wow, big factory. Every factory requires raw materials. See, they didn't teach me that in school. They all come from the earth. The wealth. So, if you think of that, 70% of the raw materials that come from the earth are farms. Everybody has to eat 2 meals a day. Every day. Farmers are that critical to the economy. Then you have miners, you have oil drillers, they're all coming from the earth. But farming is 70% of all the transactions. Okay. If you give the farmers a decent price, what does that mean? It means they can get a decent price for their product, and out of that they can pay for their tractors. They can go into town and pay whatever the stores in town they need it. They can pay their farm hands, and they have some profit for themselves. Well, that was true. That's for certain periods of our history. Today, 32% of the dollar. So, for $1 worth of produce that he grows. If he got $1 for $1's worth, he can afford to keep his farm. He gets 32 cents on the dollar today. And that's why the farms that have all gotten bigger and bigger, because the small farmers that grew all the food, they couldn't afford it. And whoever controls the money controls the price of those raw materials.
Whoever controls the money controls the world,
price.
actually. And I do wanted to say something to add something to what you're saying.
Yes.
I don't know if you're aware what is happening in Ecuador right now at this moment.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Explain a little what's happening.
In Ecuador, the IMF, the international motherfuckers, the international mafia of the world, had given Ecuador the new. He had been in power for 2 years. The new president, over $400 million, and now they are demanding to have austerity measures against the people of Ecuador. So what Moreno has implemented right now is 683. 683, what will happen with 683 is that the price of gas will go up. And it did go up. And he brought it down because the indigenous people came from, I'm going to tell you, very remote area. I have been in Ecuador years ago. And I know some of the area, and they got together and they went to Quito, which is the capital. And these people that were out there for 12 days, out on the street, the indigenous people. And one of the person in the government made a derogatory term they used against indigenous people to go back to the farm. And what did the indigenous people say? That the farm is where the people in Ecuador are getting the food to eat. That the farmers, they are the people who are actually feeding them. Yeah, so, and another thing that the international developers wanted to do is that they wanted to reduce their salary 20% for the new in-colors workers. But not only that, they want the permanent worker right now, the workers that they work for the government, to take a day, to give the government a free day. If you work 30 days, just to get paid for 29 days. And also reduce by half the vacation. If you get a month, only get 15 days. And on and on and on. But listen, this is, what people in this nation, this country, they don't understand, is that everything that the IMF is doing in Latin America, in Brazil, in Ecuador, in Argentina, their poverty, it has increased right now. It's about by 30%. It's so many poor people in Argentina. I just came from Argentina. I just was there maybe a month and a half ago. And I will tell you, you get 60 pesos, almost 60 pesos for $1. For $1. That is killing the people in Argentina. I don't care that I go there and I get 60 pesos. It's about the people that live there. So, but in Ecuador, going back to what you said about the farmers, that's what the indigenous people have told them. I said, you guys are eating because we are back in the farm, growing the food that people buy in this country. So I just wanted to bring that out. Farmers is very important.
Yeah, so speaking on the international, passing the NEED Act, that's renationalized the Fed, how does that affect international?
Good question.
You know, like in regards to what's going on there, and also in regards to like the money exchange, like what's the direct effects of that?
Well, I can say a few things. I don't understand all of it. I can say these things. The NEED Act is a national law. Money is national. I know the U.S. dollar is an international law, but the creation of it, the control of it, is a national law. You can control it for our country. You can change it in the Need Act for our country. I mean, it's very interesting. I recently did some research, and I found out that during World War I, the dollar became an international reserve currency. Way back then it started. Because Europe was lost. Europe was desperate. So the European banks couldn't fund world trade. So the bankers here, the New York bankers mostly, but all the Federal Reserve commercial banks, started funding world trade during World War I until all the countries had US dollars. It started that early. One way of controlling it at the border between the US and the rest of the world, controlling the money, is offered by the parity economy. So, and this is something I'm not an expert at. I'm always trying to learn how international trade works, because that's when the dollars go overseas, right? And it's all between importers and exporters. I didn't know that. You know, the books, when you read these books, they talk about this country got this much money in, but it's the importers and exporters that are bringing the goods back and forth, you know, in and out of the country. And what the parity economists say, and this is a little difficult, but I'll try to simplify it. Historically, in this country, if our producers say are getting $5 and it's a decent price for their farm products, say $5, why would we let American importers bring in farm products at $2? What's going to happen to our farmers? Yes. And it's something the British government did all through their empire for hundreds of years. They called it import invasion. They would do it to the countries they wanted to colonize. They would bring in cheap import. And everybody would get poorer and poorer, and the British would get more powerful and be able to control the country. And they did it in this country, that's in 788, that decade. The British sent in all these cheap products to the new state. And the farmers were impoverished. So one of the first things that the Constitution did was to put a tariff up. But I want to talk about the tariff because I learned about how it could work favorably from the parity economy at the American Monetary System. So, here am I. Say I am an American importer, and I want to import computers. In this country, computer manufacturers say that they can create a good computer for $500. I can import them for $200. I'm going to put them out of work, those Americans. A parity tariff would not do that. What the parity tariff is, if I want to import a cheap computer from China, say, I have a fund called the parity fund. And I can take the $200 computer and I can take $300 and sell it for $500. I'm not undercutting the American manufacturers. Okay? How does that money get into the fund? exporting. I'm an American exporter. I'm going to export to China, right? Let me just think if I can put it there. I'm going to take a $500 computer and I'm going to sell it to China for $200. So I put $300 into the fund. Yeah. So that $300 can be used by an American importer to raise the price. And what that does, it equalizes the country. No one country is being impoverished because they're involved in world trade. I can't explain it too much. You have to talk to someone in Paris. I'm not that grounded in importing and exporting. But that's what world trade is. It's importing and exporting. Anyway, I'm sorry if I confused.
It's good for
No, it's okay. I just wanted to add something to what you said, and
Well, let me just say one thing about parity. This is what happened. So they started developing this knowledge in 1936. And the people who started developing it, they went around to each state. And each state, the government, has an agricultural director for the state. And they were teaching them about parity agriculture, how it works. We all come from the earth. You don't have to pay the farmers well. So if you pay the farmers well and they can pay all their expenses, the income goes into the economy and people have income to buy the manufacturers. The economy can move. Okay. So this is so they went around in the late 1930s and they educated all of the agricultural directors in the state. So what happened? Pearl Harbor was attacked December of 1941. Suddenly, Congress says, wait a minute, we've been in a depression. What are we going to do? How are we going to have an economy? How are we going to fund war? Well, those agricultural directors came into Congress right after Pearl Harbor and educated the Congress. And they passed a national parity law. February of 1942, 2 months after the attack on Pearl Harbor. And they instituted parity pricing for raw materials. Most of the farmers, right, 70%, from 1942 to 1952. The farmers got a decent price. And the country was not impoverished. It worked. And then what happened when the war ended, the people from the banking system, they didn't want this. They want people in debt. They didn't want the economy to work. So they came in and slowly changed the policy. So today, the bankers get 32% of a dollar. They're all in debt.
they get 32% of every dollar.
That they earn from growing their dollars. So they're in debt.
that's why the banks, they want you just to pay the minimum payment of any credit card. They love when you only pay, they just love.
I wanted to ask you, what is your thinking about all the wealthy people that get wealthier and wealthier? How is that happening?
How is that is happening? Well, if you take a look at somebody like Jamie Dimon,
Want to? I'll show you how. You're in the right place if you want to do that.
Oh,
Don't worry, it's blonde. Just like my sense of humor.
So,
Okay.
so remember, he gets a stock buyback. A lot of these CEOs, they get the money, a lot of their money through stock, and they sign that contract. Even if the company they lose money, supposedly, quote, they still will make that money. That money that have been promised to them. And that is one way that they're and then you always, yeah, of course. And somebody like Bloomberg, how Bloomberg went into to be our city mayor, and the word was that when he was a city mayor, when he became the mayor of the city of New York, he was worth, I believe between 7 and 8, and when he left,
7 and 8
billion.
billion?
Yeah, and then when he left, it was about 15 to 20. Yeah.
And how did he make all that?
Yeah, through real estate and speculation of the real estate that we have right now. That is a way. Yeah, and also, yeah, that's why they have been making a lot of money.
That's why homelessness kept skyrocketing. Homelessness between Giuliani and Bloomberg is like that.
Yeah.
And then he had to sit down.
Yeah,
He
he
had
said
to sit
it's
down
true
with the
speculation.
Blasio.
All these
The Blasio kept his home. He had to sit down. The bunch of bodyguards right outside the restaurant.
And also all these contracts that they have made with different companies, and you know that they get something in return. If you award a lot of these companies
So Bloomberg gave him some
a
tips.
contract, you know that they're going to get something back. And one of the things that I learned is that a lot of the jobs from the MTA, and one of them, oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I was cross-talking. That was my bad, actually.
What were you saying?
No, because he had that sit down. There was a secret picture of him sitting across from Bloomberg, and Bloomberg was giving him some tips. And the first area they hit was Williamsburg, Brooklyn. That's why Williamsburg became so popular. And then it spread out. And even in my neighborhood, I live in but they renamed it to Clinton Hill. They extended the borders to Clinton Hill to make it white friendly.
This is the Blasio and Bloomberg?
That's right. And Bloomberg was giving them tips because Bloomberg started that homeless thing and the gentrification. It actually started from Giuliani when he started privatizing. Then it went on to Bloomberg, and now it went full force to Blasio. And the Blasio was nothing but a puppet. He's getting money from the real estate left and right. And even it's outrageous what's going on with our city. And I've been born and raised here all my life, full 61 years. Okay, and I've seen a whole lot of changes that I don't even like. This is not the New York that I remember back in the day. Because when I worked at the stock exchange, I was in my 20s and I picked up a whole lot. And they didn't like that. They did not like that. Because I picked up. I could have
They
been.
don't want you to think.
Hmm?
They don't want you to think.
Oh no, I was a rebel. Oh no, I didn't do this shit. I was a rebel. And I even.
There's someone there right now.
But I did it.
Oh, Gina.
I did.
Oh, I thought that she was there.
So, Ellen, what were you going to say? Do you remember?
Yes, I wanted to say that a lot of the contracts, city contracts, they have gone to private corporations where they get a kick. Bloomberg and the rest of the administration, they got a lot of money out of this those contracts that they awarded to different companies. And I noticed, one of the things that I noticed is that the MTA used to have people taking care of the bus stop. And I was talking to a gentleman when he pulled out of this pickup truck, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but you have to remove because I have to clean the bus stop." And I said, "Do you work for the MTA?" He said, "No, I work for a private corporation that the city awarded this job. So it's not city workers that they do the work anymore. It's our private corporation that they pay people the minimum wage a lot of time." with no benefits just to do that work. It's like another gig economy, and this is what is happening around with a lot of these jobs that the city is losing. And this is part of the Bloomberg administration, the Giuliani administration, and even the Blasio administration that is awarding this contract to private corporation. And when you're talking about fiat money, and we have to talk about everything that is the private privatization
That pays for it.
Yes, and the privatization, because we are paying for those jobs, but they're not public jobs anymore. They're private jobs that these corporations are not paying people no benefit. You come, the day that you come, you get paid, and the day that you don't show up, you don't get paid. So this is what is going on in this city right now.
They do a lot of outsourcing. My sister, she works for transit. She got the transit to Washington, one of the main stations. So luckily for her, transit hired her. And she's been on the job for what? I think 15 years. She's been retiring too. So she's good to go, but they cut that out.
No, that is not
They cut that out because it was good jobs, and she's been there every day. And she was good. She also works on Wall Street. The New York, the big boy, you know. But
It's only gonna get worse.
It
Unless
is,
we
yeah.
do something about it.
Yeah,
Let me take what both of you said back to the banking system. So I did a research project a number of years ago about the New York City budget under Bloomberg. So when he started as mayor, the debt of New York City was a little under $60 billion. That was the debt of New York City. Bonds. The New York municipal bonds were sold by the New York government to get money to pay the bills. When he left office, the debt was over $106 billion. From a little under 60 to 106 billion debt. Now, who made money off of that debt? Every time, you can't make this up. Every time New York City or any municipal government has to sell bonds to get money to pay their
expenses, yeah.
They go to investment bankers and they say, we want this many bonds, and the investment banker says, okay, we'll give you this much money for them. Where does the investment banker get that money to buy the bonds from the city? Does anyone know?
One of the 21 banks that are designated banks.
No, for the
No, but where do those investment banks get the money to buy the bonds from New York City?
from the Federal Center.
They go and they get a loan from a commercial bank on Wall Street, and then J.P. Morgan Chase will create bank credit, give it to the investment banker, and he'll give it to the city, and then he takes the bonds, he sells them. Who's he sell them to? Mostly to middle class Americans in their pension fund, their insurance companies. That's and we buy the stocks and bonds and pay the investment banker for them, as well as his huge fees that he makes for doing this. So the whole system of stocks and bonds is there for the banks and for the investment banks. And what the end result is New York City is terrible debt. That's how it works. That's how the system works.
Not only New York City, Rhode Island and Connecticut, but especially Rhode Island. We also meet on Sundays, and we used to talk about a lot. The name of the group is Old Banking, but now we talk about everything.
What's it called?
Alternative, yeah. But now we talk about everything, yeah. But I would tell you, this gentleman from Connecticut, I forgot his name, he actually wrote a book. He said, no, do you remember his name? The one who used to come from Connecticut?
No, I went before I started.
No, you were there. And he
Are you
said,
talking about Tommy?
yes,
I don't know.
yes, I forgot his last name.
I don't remember. He's the one who had that giant book.
Yes. And I will tell you, he said that Rhode Island is in terrible shape. There were two of their malls that they were getting ready to close. And people in Rhode Island, they thought that they owned their home. But he said the money that they own, the state of Rhode Island, they're completely broke. And they don't even know it. And that's what happened in a lot of small town in Pennsylvania, like Reading, Pennsylvania, and he named a few of the towns in Pennsylvania because of the loan, the bond.
Well, think of this, the current system, all based on the commercial banks, members of the Federal Reserve, having the privilege to create their bank credit, and we all use it, right, and get into debt. Under the NEED Act, New York City wouldn't have to go to investment bankers and commercial banks to get their bonds sold, right? Part of what's in the NEED Act, and this is built into it, is that 25% of any new money every year, and that's going to be determined by an independent authority in the Treasury, even independent from the Treasury Secretary. 25% of any new money is going to be given per capita to states, to decide to spend. It's government money. It's given as grants. There's no interest. There's no paying it back. It's a grant without any strings attached. The states are going to decide how to spend it.
This is Natalie and I. Natalie is working for MSNBC right now. She's my student. She's working on. She's digging. Sorry. She's digging through a bunch of Tea Party footage right now, and we've been talking about how to talk to the NEED Act to conservatives. This is something that I forget a lot. The state spending, those conservatives are really going to like this, like part of the NEED Act. This is something we should be hyping up.
But on top of the state grants, the state will get the money and they decide what to use it, each state. On top of that, in the NEED Act is that municipalities within the state, cities, towns, can ask for interest-free loans from the federal government, interest rates. So a fire department could get an interest-free loan. They don't have to go and take a loan out with debt to these private banks that, today. Anyway,
That's important.
that's important as part of the NEED Act. I wanted to just get back to what you were talking about the gig economy.
I wanted to put it on to send it to the group.
How do you spell that?
Robert.
GIG.
G-I-G, the gig economy.
Robert.
Enormous.
Robert. I'm sorry.
What? Oh, I'm sorry.
There's just like enormous consulting companies that take people and they line up for day jobs and they can be have someone speaking architecture. Can you speak louder? We had a presentation at Ethical Culture actually, and he said that all these people are lined up for day jobs, they're all day jobs, and they are sent out. Sometimes people get a job, but sometimes they don't. And when they get a check, it's very interesting, they have to take it to a specific, not any, a specific children's place. Very specific. And if introduction of this. It's called gig economy. What does gig stand for?
It's
What
big,
is it?
big, like short-term job, like when a bank.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
but you
It's
knew,
very scary.
yeah, but you knew what they also they were
Yeah.
doing. I don't know if they're still doing it. A lot of jobs they were paying with a debit card.
Yeah,
And then when the people use the debit card, that's what it came around at one time.
Yes.
I once had a job.
Yeah, and
Yeah, you're
but it was big. It was big in the city. A lot of jobs that were paying with a debit card, and when people went to get their money from the credit card company, especially Citibank, they were charging people to use the card.
What?
Yes.
They took part of it out.
Yeah, they took it. Yes.
My first job in New York, I had a case card because they were. I had been with another bank when I lived in Indianapolis. I owed them, and it was actually Forum Credit Union. I owed them a debt. I had a notarized letter from Forum Credit Union that said that my debt with them was clear, but Check Systems insisted that I still had a debt with them, so I had to take this debit card for the first job I had.
Yeah, with a debit card. I
You
remember. I
got
made a
paid through a debit card.
So then
So what
you,
they do, they charge you a processing fee?
Yeah, they
Yes,
charge you a
yes.
fee. Yeah.
Yeah, they put your money on that debit card, but when you use the debit card, every time that you use the debit card, you get charged a transaction fee.
oh my God.
Yeah, I
So
had
that
one
was-
from Chase my first
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, I met two people and I couldn't believe it. I was like, no.
They
Say
usually
yes.
tell you, oh, you get paid immediately,
Yes.
and then you'll lose like 10 or 20 bucks on the check. Like,
But it's a fee, yeah.
if you get a good one, like I think depending on that, if it's a good company, they'll charge you ATM withdrawals, but you can like pay bills and do other things. So sometimes it's good, but yeah, some of them are really scary.
But that one is when you
Yeah,
go
that's
and
more
use
acuity
a card, you use an authorized ATM machine. But this one was that you went of a day of work. You got paid that day of work. And they put the money on a debit card. And then you went and used your debit card. And every time they use it anywhere, and even in the same bank, because I remember, I think it was Citibank who was issuing those cards. The bank charged you every time that you use the card. Even at the bank, if you took the money out.
Mine was definitely Chase.
Oh, you were chased.
Is this still going on?
I'm not sure, but that's what it was.
They check our
This is-
Is unemployment fund going to
Yes, I think so too. The unemployment too, but I don't think it's happening anymore. I don't think so. I'm sorry.
I was saying the other problem with the gig economy is that they're generally like short-term jobs that exist outside of normal labor laws.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's-
they can pay. So it's like you're contracted to do this, and it's like, but you're really not getting paid enough. Or you get paid $50 to do it, but it costs you your own fees to do things like drive or stuff like that.
But
I'm just wondering, I don't know much about it, but I'm wondering if the bank splits the fee with the employer.
No, I don't
That's a
think
good question.
with what? With,
Yeah, I wonder if
with
they
the
get an
debit card?
incentive or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get an incentive.
I don't know.
They
pretty
save
You know,
money
it's like
somehow.
the thing is like once you're living that life, because I've definitely lived that life, you're too desperate to ask too many questions.
It's true. You're right. Because but I'm gonna tell you something. One thing that I like,
And I'll pay $5 of it. Thank God I got $35.
people use the word freelance, and freelance doesn't really sound that sexy. But gig economy, gig, they just pronounce that word. It doesn't sound fantastic.
So it's like
It's like it comes from here from your throat, gig. It sounds so beautiful, and and this is what they do. They use marvelous words to really screw you. Really,
The other thought I'm having listening to
the language is unbelievable.
this description is, these big banks are so wealthy. They're so powerful with this power to create their bank credit. The fact that they're doing it is to the, the poor people who are desperate. It's sort of like they're nickeling, diming everybody. They don't really have to. That's a really.
Yeah. And then the banks that don't do it get bought out, like TD Bank bought out Commerce. This is why Commerce Bank's opening no stupid hours. They get bought out by TD, and they start stupid fees, and their hours got worse, although they're better than most other banks.
But this is the whole reason why credit unions, like the whole move your money idea, it's a great idea if it has some benefit, some savings benefit for the consumer, but it's not going to eliminate the fact. Like our monetary system isn't based on deposits the way a lot of people think it is. It's based on loans. So even if everyone moved their money, even if everyone took their money out of the big banks, that's not going to stop the Fed from making loans to like Boeing so they can keep dropping bombs in the Middle East.
And large corporations are going to keep their deposits on postal.
Yeah. Hey, one other thing. I just want to let everyone know that we've got like about half a dozen people on live stream with us. We've got a bunch of other monetary reformers.
Oh, good.
Big shout out to Virginia Hammond. She's online. I just shared a link. She's got a new book. She's starting a new campaign. She's going to ask a lot of people. She wants to go to Virginia.
Oh, okay.
She's got the postcards, right? Yeah, she's got a new book coming out. And she's asking people to send postcards to Congress representatives. We've got William George from Oklahoma. He's always here with us in spirit. He's there with a bunch of his friends watching. And Howard Sturzer was on earlier too, telling us that TV was super there. So, and who knows who else is out there watching this too right now. So we're just the tip of the iceberg. We're the point of the lands. Yeah. Oh, another occupier, Patrick Wilson from Occupy Boston. He was joining us. He's been with us for years too. And I'm sure he'll start something up in Boston when the time's right. So.
I thought the gig economy had to do with something with online. Like freelancing, like Fiverr.
It started with Uber. That's why they decided that new word came up. Uber wasn't big when they used that word, the language.
I know.
Yeah, but it's a gig economy.
The company takes 35% of each driver's pay. Because I talk to them. I'm a kidney dialysis patient. I get picked up in a cab. I talk to all the cab drivers. And they say they can't stand Uber or Lyft or any of them. Because to take a guy from Manhattan to JFK, he only gets $25. Yeah, usually that's about $100. And these guys really busted behind, but the thing is, we got too many damn cabs here in New York City. And the yellow cab,
There's so many people.
Left and right. You know, we need a self-sustainable system because eventually it's going to be a financial collapse. But I'm working toward it. I'm growing my own food. I'm even building my own electrical stuff here. So when this thing happens, I'm prepared.
Hurry up because it's coming down.
You cannot digest gold coin with $1 bill. You can have all the billions and the trillions and that, but that ain't going to mean nothing.
You know, it's interesting that you say that.
That's right.
Because the Lost Science of Money points out that the first forms of money, ancient Sumerian and all that, before people use gold or silver or anything else, they're mostly using seed. And they would also use cows. Those were the first units of exchange. What is it? 140 pounds of gold was equal to 1 cow, which is also equal to 3 to 4 slave women.
3 cows are equal to one woman.
3 cows, 1 woman. Okay. I always get that backwards. But anyway, one of the things that they would do.
So you don't value a woman.
I thought it was the ancients that took value in women, but not me. I just get it all wrong. Well, the other thing that happened, so when your neighbor would borrow, when you would make a loan to your neighbor, you'd loan some seed, you'd loan a cow, you'd have a good harvest, your cow would have some offspring, and when it came time to pay the loan back, it was customary to share some of that extra harvest, some of that extra offspring with the original person that made the loan. This is where the tradition of interest comes in. What we see in ancient Greece, we start to see when metal money is being based on silver and gold, temples continued that tradition of charging interest back, as if money could reproduce and have sex and make more of itself. So this is the beginning of what we call usury. And this is for us the central feature of capitalism. We're not against luxury, we're not against wealth, we're not against leisure time, we're not for austerity. We are against the systematic misuse of our monetary system based on personal diet, private gain.
Usury is forbidden in Deuteronomy. Usury is forbidden in Deuteronomy, and the Catholic Church took it seriously for centuries. I mean, it's in Dante. I think it's in the Purgatorio.
Yeah. And we could talk more. I mean, if you love this, you really got to check out the Lost Arts. This PDF, if you can't afford it online, it costs about $90 the book. It's phenomenal. Like 50 now? That's good. That's good. But so like, we talk about the Catholic Church's prohibition on usury. The usury.
Well, you can go to the library. They have near a public
Oh, they
library.
do? Oh, that's good. That's good.
Library.
Yeah. But the church, the Catholic Church was, I mean, people had all kinds of ways of getting around usury, but a lot of
the scandal is selling indulgences.
and that's part of that gets into it too. But Thomas Aquinas was the main the Catholic philosopher who read Aristotle's writings on money. He's the one who really helped kind of promote this ban on usury. John Calvin was the one in the religious institutes who started making arguments for usury, and this helped benefit like the Fugger Banking Plan. Fugger's actually financed John Eck, other people who were other bankers. So part of well, yeah. So usually Protestant Church promoting usury is what we see, and what we still see. Even today, we have competitors, modern money theory specifically, but there are bankers who will fund other economists to write a bunch of BS about our monetary system. And this is a big problem that we have right now. So, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the rock star of Congress right now, we would love to have her sponsor HR 2990, the MEAT Act. But the thing is that she's talking to people from modern money theory. Bernie Sanders' economic advisors, also from modern money theory. These are people that want you to think that we can just solve all our problems with more debt and more taxes. And they're funded by a hedge fund manager with private offshore accounts and property in the Caribbean.
Not change the bank credit.
Right.
Not change the bank credit.
It doesn't change. It's not monetary reform. It's not even really financial reform. Like this, ever since Adam Smith, we've been running. The problem isn't just censorship of this lost science money. The problem is actually fighting against the outright propaganda. And this has been a problem since the Continental Congress. All of our founding fathers. I mean, Ben Franklin knew what was up, and he was like dying by the time the Continental Congress was happening. Thomas Paine wasn't there. Thomas Jefferson was fairly stupid, and the only person who really knew what was going on was Alexander Hamilton. When everybody else there, like most of the delegates, most of what they knew about money and bank credit and all this stuff came from Adam Smith, rather than like Aristotle. So this is why our country got set up in this weird financial system. And all these wars, we have to read, like the wars between Andrew Jackson and Nicholas Biddle, the fights between Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton. Like, there's just so much history. We can be here all night.
War hates this. This is all about the bank.
Absolutely. Or war.
We're going outside today.
Yeah, you guys want to go outside?
I think she said that Saturday. So,
We can start getting ready, getting bundled up.
yeah.
Someone should finish this pizza.
Maybe you should ask.
I'll take a
We got a
slice.
bunch of
Warm it
signs,
up.
a bunch of masks. I'm gonna hand out a bunch of sticks and knives tonight. You all get to but it's like to kill your
I wanted to go in there, Scott. It's kind of fun there.
Yeah, let's go have some fun, some free photos. Make some comments too. Yes. Okay, let's break these tables apart so people can get out from back over here. And we pull that over so you don't have to walk off. That's mine.
Okay, so the group is getting ready to head on outside. Basically, the idea was that it would be better to go ahead and eat inside rather than being outside. They're going to be heading outside now, right across from the New York Federal Reserve.
No, you can start rising on the side.
I jump around chapter to chapter. Like I never try to read it straight.
Oh, okay.
Like I read it, and then you read it, it's still the chapters. Okay, just kind of read it. I see.
So, like I said, everyone's basically getting everything together. We're going to be heading outside across from the Federal Reserve. People are just getting stuff together, signs and everything.
Feel free to take it. Feel free to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one.
Thanks. I'd agree with that, Will.
What's that?
Oh no, it was William making a comment. Well, the question, I guess my question would be, taken from Congress. They didn't actually take it from Congress. Someone had to have given it to them. And I think Congress has to be held responsible for them allowing Federal Reserve to go ahead and take that power from them. The what?
Is there a question that you wanted to ask?
William George just said, one of my friends online says that bankers should be charged with sedition and treason for taking what is given to the given in the Constitution to Congress, from Congress. The heads of the big banks know exactly what they are doing.
It's true. I mean, it is going against the Constitution.
Yeah, but my thing is that they didn't actually take it. Someone gave it to them. They may have come up with the idea,
The Federal Reserve
but
happened in 1913.
so it's coming out of Congress giving them, or a group of individuals coming together with a majority vote in order to pass that, in order to give them the power. Because no one can actually just take it. It has to be given, and that's the whole idea of money in politics, donating, and a number of layers. But your take on that, I guess, on the banks taking what belongs to Congress from Congress.
Well, I think if we're going to have a democracy and a republic, people have to be educated. They have to have a true monetary system, not banking. Unless we educate ourselves and think for ourselves, we won't have control over Congress.
Well, I mean, it's one of the things I've said, not just on this issue, on a number of issues. And I always pointed out late 1800s. They tried it before, but late 1800s, they wanted to establish a national ID, and people rose up in the United States. No way in hell is this going to happen in our country. It was late 1880s or 1890s. It wasn't until the Social Security Act came. But if you look at the speech when it was passed, he said this will not be a national ID. That was the fear among Americans from a previous generation. There's no way they would stand for a national ID. It's become a national ID, but it was never meant to be that. I think over time, and from what you're saying also, it seemed as if Americans were more aware at one point, even if they weren't college educated. They were aware of what was right and what was wrong. And if they had to, they would have gone into their congressman's office and dragged him out if need be. But I think that at one point they would have been aware. Do you think that the Federal Reserve Act and others would have been passed 50 years earlier, or was it just the timing that it was?
Well, you know, in the 1800s in this country, every national election, the major issue was the monetary system.
Okay.
The struggle between wanting a government-issued money and having private bank credit.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that people didn't go to our schools back then in the 1800s. They weren't dumbed down.
Okay.
They knew what was going on in the money system.
Okay.
So we have to educate outside of it. They're not educating us about it in our school system. We have to educate ourselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, a couple of, like 3 nights ago, I was talking to someone. I have an issue with the charter school system, which is a public school system, which is a private school system, basically getting state funds and money, as opposed to a lot of that could have been funneled back into the public school system. Like high schools, they'll have charter schools that have high schools focused on different issues. And I always point out, you had technical high schools, you had science high schools, you had art high schools. Everything was there. And if they said the teachers, well, where are they getting the teachers for the charter schools? All that money that went into that could have gone into the education system. And a lot of the education, which it comes back to, a lot of the programs that used to exist, at least when I was growing up, have been stripped away. They should have been changed as time progressed, but stuff like civics, there are certain things that should have been improved upon, and that's an element that could have been improved. And, once you hit like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, the beginnings of like the monetary system, what it means to be an American citizen, and not some people's idea of what it means, but in terms of like the new true history about how things happen. All of this could have been incorporated, but it seems as if they stripped most of the guts of everything out. And I do see them trying to put it back in again, which I have an issue with, because I'm like, why did you take it away to begin with? I understand both sides. I always try to look at both sides. But yeah, understanding finance, I think it's one of the things that people did understand. It's sort of like looking back when people used to have a little notebook where they wrote down their money. They counted their money. They knew what money was coming in, where it was going. And I think credit has a big issue with that. It's sort of like when you're using a card, it's not real money, in your mind, which creates more debt for you. And
Well, you know what? Kids are going through the school system today, and then they don't know how to make change.
I say that they don't teach you how to like contribute or to change things that that have already been established. Like that's why a lot of people go out there and they're just screaming in the streets, but really have to go to represent. Like the whole idea that New York is not a ballot state.
Right.
Every state has a different way to do things. It's like, a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to do something about it. I don't know what to do or how to do it." You know what I mean? That's something that's been hindering actual change to happen.
I think that it's very to me, if you're a student, you have to go to what the source of truth. You have to actually see the source of truth. Instead of being told
Right.
that's the story of things.
Right.
We call that street knowledge.
I don't know.
Now they got Google and YouTube. We didn't have that. So,
Well,
it's a lot. I think it's a little bit easier to get access to this source.
well, what was it? A number of friends of mine have worked for like the Newark Public Library, the New York Public Library, and one of the things, and some have taught in like college libraries, when you like hit your freshman year, there's the idea of going to the library, learning research skills. Something, I guess, that would be a good thing to implement.
But the way they do it, they make people not want to learn.
But they need to make it as the way librarians would do it in terms, or even like talk to it like, okay, this is how to source your material, and if you need, these are the other resources. These are the people you should go to when you have these questions. And that it's not just all online, that a lot of it is in paper form. Because there are still a lot of, there are still a lot of journals and stuff which are being stored. A lot of it's being converted over on microfiche. A lot of that stuff still exists.
Public library is wonderful for all those sources. Oh my God, I love it.
I have an issue though. I have an issue with New York Public Library. I have an issue with the New York Public Library from a few years ago. Everyone knows at one point they had planned to sell the main branch, and there was a discussion about it being turned into condominiums or some type of high price. And that may have been one of the ideas, but they definitely were pushing plans to take all the material out and basically ship it to a warehouse in Jersey and store the material there, and everything would have just been digital. So no more of the hard copies, and have like maybe the one reading room with like this size of some books. Yeah, but who do you remember who was the groups that were working on that? I know some of the people from like the People's Library and others, but there were a number of groups working on that fight.
Yeah, there's an ally group.
And I'll find them though, but it's a couple of years ago they started like chopping all the branches because that's valuable real estate. You got to think about how much if someone purchased. I mean, friends of mine that worked at branches in Jersey, it was like that's where kids went after school. They socialized. That was a place where they could sit down. They may be exposed to books they didn't even think about before, and they do their homework, work together. You can't. There's no way you should ever allow the branches to move anything. Oh, Apollo. Mark Apollo, but
Good to meet you.
pleasure.
Well, they got the Brooklyn Heights Library torn down to make condos.
They did that like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, that was. I remember when that fight was going on.
Yeah, the building's gone now.
And they're probably.
The building that's more
Well, that specifically had to do with real estate. When they start gutting branches of libraries, it's a serious issue.
Look what they got on 53rd Street.
Yeah. I know. I'm pretty sure there's stuff going on in the background to still try and pull some of that stuff off a lot more. It reminds me, I should actually try to look into that. Okay, everyone. Currently, we're walking across the street, going towards the Federal Reserve. The discussion was going on inside. And as I had pointed out before, last time I was down here, this space is actually designated as a public-private space, so that's a series of other issues that I have. And what you're looking at is the Federal Reserve. Which, despite how the name may implies, is actually a private bank. You can give it any specific legal designation or specification, but at its heart, it's a private bank. Run by bankers for bankers. Lewis Nevelson Plaza, that's correct. The beautiful thing is that there is good lighting out here, which is always an issue. And as you can see, the mask, the Guy Fawkes mask, and just a reminder, because a couple of people messaged me last night, remember the 5th of November. Millions Mass March, November 5th. Hit me up on Messenger, not here, about it. Washington, D.C. is definitely having their march, and I believe Philadelphia is going to be doing a march also, or in Boston. That was an issue last year during it, but ideally, both marches will take place and complement each other. And there's no reason that this year shouldn't be a massive march. But so we have the Federal Reserve police out here right now. Hashtag Federal Reserve Police, who do you serve? Oh, I think he heard that. Cool. But, yeah, last time they came over, either the officers that came over last time don't know the actual regulations. And unfortunately, I do. Regarding the space when they were out here. At the time, the group didn't want to push it, and I understand it. But, yeah, I don't like it. That's one of my issues when NYPD, Federal Reserve, DC Police, or anyone starts citing improper regulations, laws, ordinances. 2, I'll correct that. 3, I will even double check my own facts on it, which I've done in DC a number of times, and as well as in New York.
Fuck the Fed! Fuck the police!
Want to do something? I hope I don't.
Oh, I know.
I think this is enough.
Oh, no, that's okay. It's
Let's
okay.
make America great again, people, with the Adidas.
Okay, I'm gonna do a close up just because the lighting isn't so great.
Yeah. Come on. Let's do like Julius Caesar, like stuff like that. I have knives. I brought knives for everyone to stab me to death with.
As you can see, Trump is down here with us. Trump is down here visiting
Shut
today.
this down with me, oh, it's not my day. So here, let me get a good photo of my phone too, Dave.
Oh, yeah. We my phone.
We are watching.
Here. Let's make this a little more interesting, shall we? If you have an extra hand, why don't you take a stick too? Anyone want a stick? No sticks, down. No stick. There you go. You got beat you to death with them.
So as you can see, in about 15 minutes, this is the group that's going to be boarding the bus. We're going to be heading down to D.C. We've had enough of both our legislators in Congress as well as the orange-haired guy in the White House. We're going to take back our country.
President is on his knees in front of the Federal Reserve, people.
Yeah.
How much better than this does it get? Aren't you glad you all came out tonight?
Yes.
Go ahead and hit me with your sticks now, people. Go ahead, right here, people. Baby sticks. Come get me. Come get it.
It's time to beat the Trump.
For what you doing
There
to
we
the
go.
country.
Time for me to pay for my crimes against humanity.
Yeah, especially against women.
Alright, let's have it. Oh, here, I'll shoot it. Stand strong. And I'm not responsible for the economic recession that's about to hit you. It's too big. Blaming the economy on me would be giving me credit I don't deserve. Jerome Powell is the one man in this country I cannot say you're fired to. So that's why we're out here. Okay.
Trump 2020.
Yeah, right. We got that sign right there. You got some good photos there? Yeah, good. Cool.
Yeah, hold on.
You throw the signs down.
Thanks, William. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to do another stream, one when it's lighter and also not as cold, so I can get better sound as well on this. But yeah, overall, I'll try and download the video later and then try to edit the sound so that I can boost the volume and then repost it through YouTube. Only because I know part of the sound was good, but especially the portion when the TV was in the background, that became an issue. Then afterwards, it just had to do with the location,
Don't
but
worry, people, it's gonna get warmer here in a second.
I should be able to increase the volume on some of it.
Get a piece of you right now.
It'll probably take me, like 1 or 2 days to do it. About 2 days to do it. But it's getting there. Oh my God, Trump is trying to fix the issue in Turkey again. See, this is what Trump does all night. He sits around trying to figure out.
It's presidential harassment, Mike.
Well, it's not my fault you don't know how to start a fire. I know. You said it's going to be a big fire. Big.
Ooh, fire.
That's right.
That's a huge fire.
Yeah, right here.
It's the biggest fire. Ooh.
Check this out. So this is a Filipino martial art. This is called Kali. This came right out of Magellan, the explorer. He was trying to find better trade routes for gold, silver trade ratio that we talk about the lost science of money. And when he got to the Philippines, he got his ass killed with this martial art. When Americans fought the Spanish-American War, trying to take over the same trade routes, the Marines, a lot of them got killed with this martial art. A lot of people died to bring us this martial art. The United States Marine Corps combat program is based on Kali, on Filipino martial arts. This martial art is still used to fight terrorists from ISIS in the Philippines even now. So that's why we're bringing it here to Tibet, because this martial art has been used in pretty much every war ever in the entire history of modern faith struggle. So there's a little drill we do called Superada. Check this out. I'll show you a little something. Go ahead, give me your horn. It's just a little waltz of weapons. We do this just to kind of set up timing and stuff.
I'm gonna work on increasing the volume on the video over the next 2 days, and then put it up on YouTube, and then at that point I'd say share it out from YouTube afterwards.
It's having fun. It's not a real question. So he takes my blade. So he takes the blade out. So he takes the other blade. That fight continues. He's still going after me. Still using it. One of the many things we'll be doing all summer when we come back, we start doing this on a regular basis as well as stuff. Do a little bit arm training. Yeah, we'll let this real quick. It's a little game you play with the gun. Give you a sense. So you can't move faster than the bullet, but you can always move faster than the gunman. Actually here. Can you record this on my phone? Dave has my phone. So check this out. You can hold his hand closer to the gun than me. This just gives you a sense. Even if he's closer, I will always get the gun if I move first. Doesn't matter. Make it now. Always, every time. This on. This on. Take your time. Just slow. Don't irritate. It's good. Jump out. It's good. Just stay down. Stay down. Just release. Good time. Yeah. Okay, now he's got the gun. Stand up. Good, chill. Go ahead. Stand up. So you just go back and forth. There's a stupid movie called Equilibrium. Say the gun runs out of bullets. Still have a weapon.
Yeah.
Still actually has some there. Say he disarms me. Say he magically gets the guns reloaded again. Now I have to do a basic. No way, guns bullets. Okay? Alright, we're done. Thank you. Close it. We got more stuff. We'll show you some stuff with knives. If you really want to learn how to assassinate something. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, I guess.
Okay. Again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. The discussion, I hope, was informative. I know, like, some of you, like myself, yeah, we don't always sit through an entire discussion online, but I'd advise you to go ahead and go back and look through some of the portions of the discussion. It's really informative, insightful, might actually inspire you or give you insight as to certain issues in which to plug into, possibly get involved in. A number of issues were discussed. In addition, I'm going to also be downloading this live stream so that I can also work on the sound quality, especially at the beginning of the video. Just because we had an issue with the TV and the music in the background, which was not giving the best quality sound during some of the discussions. Again, thanks for tuning in. In the description of this live stream, as well as the NYCHA live stream from earlier today, is a link. If you like the discussion of this live stream, the live stream with NYCHA, or any of the other live streams or media stuff I've done this year, over the last 7 years, please make a donation. No donation is too small, no donation is too large, but no donation is too small. Even $2, $5, $12, every bit helps. I want to give a big shout out to the person who actually made sure I was able to live stream today for this action, as well as the NYCHA action earlier and other actions coming up over the next few days. Without their help, I wouldn't have been live streaming today. So thank you. Major shout out. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Donate if you can. Link is in the description. Solidarity forever.